So what is up, guys? Back again with Late Night Shots, episode 23. And today we're here with Junior World Silver Medalist Zach Elam.
What's up, guys? Good to be here.
What's up, man?
Zach, welcome to the show. Welcome to Late Night Shots. We're starting a little mini heavyweight week, even though you say we're not. I'm going to call it. We got some big-time heavyweights this week, We had Jacob Casper yesterday. Zach Elam's here tonight. We got some big guy coming on tomorrow. Someone who's going to, have a breakthrough season coming up. And, welcome on the show.
Yep, good to be here. You guys do a pretty good job at this podcast. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We definitely were, you were somebody we talked about a little bit. It was kind of getting on the show. And then we talked to Don Bradley, who obviously, you work with a ton. And he told us you were somebody we had to talk to. So, we got you in as soon as we could.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to kick it off here. We're going to talk a little bit about your high school career. So how old were you when you started wrestling?
I think I started at about 4 years old, but that was just coming into practices and no tournaments or anything, but just coming in, rolling around, getting a feel for the sport. And then I started competing at about 5 or 6. I'd say around there, and that's kind of when I started to take it seriously.
So you're 5 or 6 years old. Those matches aren't too high class. There's not too much skill involved. I always say it's kind of whoever you spin in the circle, and whoever falls over first usually ends up winning.
Yeah.
Whoever trips on their own feet.
Yeah, that's what I tend to notice. I actually I ref youth wrestling during the season, and man, it's so fun to watch some of those kids, and especially when you get like those 6 and unders, man, like you said, whoever falls over is gonna lose, and whoever gets on top is gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I remember that when I was a kid too. It's just you lock your arms on each other's shoulders and spin in a circle, and whoever falls over usually wins.
Yeah, that's it.
So you were young, obviously, as we've talked to pretty much everyone on the show we've had on that's, had, super great careers. Everyone starts young, now 4, 5, 6 ranges usually when we see, these guys that are, in the Division I level start wrestling. And, I mean, do you think that really affected your wrestling career, starting that young?
Yes, just from a sense of when I was young, my dad would take me to a lot of big tournaments, as I started to get older, as 7, 8, 9, tournaments like Tulsa Nationals, Reno, just kind of all that Cliff Keen tournaments. So I think that exposure helped, wrestling kids from all over the country. And, but yeah, I think it helped me just starting younger. I know there's some people that have success in wrestling who haven't started when they were freshmen in high school. So, everybody's different, but I think starting young helped me quite a bit.
Yeah, so, that's something you see, especially at heavyweight, where you see guys joining right into high school. And honestly, you can get by at the college level just being a superior athlete at heavyweight. You don't have to be an elite wrestler. And you see that with guys like Demetrius Thomas from Pitt was a JUCO product. I think he started wrestling probably midway through high school. These guys are football stars. They wrestled. I don't like football that much, because football is the sport people want you to do when you're big. And then you realize wrestling is just more fun to an extent sometimes,
Yeah.
That's just you're just there, honestly. And you already have that built up physical dominance that you can just build off of from there.
Yeah. There's a lot of athletes that wrestle at the at the heavyweight level, and it's really heavyweight is just such a variety from you got guys from 220, you got guys at 285, and everywhere in between. So it's all awesome.
Yeah. I mean, so you talk a little bit about how you went to those big tournaments, Reno, Tulsa Nationals, those big Cliff Keen tournaments. Did you have any big wins at those tournaments? Did you ever win any of those tournaments?
Yeah, so Tulsa Nationals, I won once. I made it to the finals, I think 5 times, but won once and lost to a lot of. I mean, just some of those guys that I lost to, I remember their names, and a couple guys wrestled a guy wrestled at West Virginia, a guy wrestled at Eastern Michigan, and then like Rutgers is another school a kid wrestled at. But yeah, I mean, I won those. I won Reno, I think, about 3 or 4 times. But those tournaments were tough, real tough, and they still are today. So,
isn't there like something like a triple crown, like in those young tournaments?
Yeah. So it's like there's a tournament that's in Tulsa. It's like the pre-Tulsa. I forgot what it was called. It's like preseason. I don't know what it's called, but that one's like in November, I'd say, or October. And then the actual Tulsa Nationals, if I can remember, is in January. And then Reno is like in April. And I think if you win all 3 of those, then that's the Trinity
yeah.
or Triple Crown.
So did you win the Triple Crown?
I didn't. I actually there's a lot of years where I took second at both and then won one, or I won 2 of those tournaments and took second at the other. That happened about like 4 or 5 times.
But you were almost the Triple Crown.
Yeah. But my brother actually won the Triple Crown once. I think like when he was 8 and under or something. But yeah, I was always like one tournament or one placing off.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot, with these young kids wrestling. It's like they get really, really good. And, some of them end up going to high school and, they don't really do that great, or some of them go to high school and they absolutely destroy kids.
Yeah, I think a lot of that also has to do with, some kids just solely focus on wrestling growing up, and I don't think that's probably the best thing for them. Wrestling as a body. So growing up, I think as a kid, I don't think kids should just focus on wrestling. I think they should play and do as many things as they can. And that's why maybe you see some kids kind of burn out when they get into high school that were so good in youth.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see that a lot. And I definitely think it also has to do with the coaching as well. If you got super rude, super disrespectful, super mean coaches when you're in the elementary level, there's not really like, it's at that point where like you're in high school, you can say no. Like your parents aren't going to force you to go to practice. Like you're in 7th, 8th grade, you kind of have a voice and you can kind of be like, I don't want to wrestle. Yeah. I think we see that a lot. And that's why, some smaller schools struggle to fill lineups, but then you see their elementary team, they have 45 kids on the team. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like there's something here while these kids aren't continuing to the next level.
Yeah. I think you hit it right on the money. A lot of high schools I know that have good success have a good youth program. So I think that also plays a big factor into things.
Let's just get into it. So where you're from, is it 7th, 8th and up? Is it 7th and up varsity, or is it only 9th, 10th, 11th?
Yeah, only 9, 10, 11, 12. So you only get the 4 years of high school, and then 7th and 8th grade middle school.
Yeah. So 7th and 8th.
What's that?
You wrestled in Missouri?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I wrestled all my years in Missouri.
Yeah. So let's just.
What's that?
You got it.
All right, so let's just, I guess, get into like your 7th and 8th grade year on middle school, or I guess some kids call it junior high. I guess let's just we'll say junior high. So, were you somebody that was like kind of outstanding at that point? It was like somebody that like people were watching because like they knew you were going to be good.
Yeah, I don't want to say that for myself, but I had a pretty good youth career. Won about 5 or 6 state titles. But going into my 7th grade year, it was always tough for me in youth as I got into the 5th, 6th, and 7th and 8th grade. Wrestling got a little bit harder because I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'4". And then I've always been tall. And as a kid, I was pretty tall, and all the guys I was wrestling were more like hitting puberty and getting mature and getting strong, and I was just a tall, lengthy kid. So I'd say that was a big battle for me as I got older. But yeah, I'd say I had a pretty good youth career, and getting towards the end of it, I think I won a state title my 8th grade year in youth, and then my 7th grade year, I missed most of my season because I had a broken wrist, and then I came back at the end of the season and took 5th. So that 7th grade year was pretty rough. But
So I mean, 7th and 8th grade, you won a state title, you medaled at a state tournament. Obviously that's so great coming into the, your freshman year. You're kind of, you're kind of probably feeling, all right, I've won a state title 5 or 6 times. I'm somebody that, I'm now ready to be on that varsity lineup. So
Yeah.
I guess we could just start with your freshman year, and then we'll break that down a little bit. And then, so let's just talk about your freshman season and how that went for you.
Yeah. My freshman season, I came in at about weighing 165-ish pounds. And then once football season ended, I was weighing about 173. And so I ended up wrestling 170. So I was about 6 foot, 170. And
some would say that's a pretty big freshman.
Yeah. Yeah. I was, but yeah, I was pretty tall. And again, lengthy, but not a lot of muscle mass. Just a long kid. And I had a pretty good season. I think it was 40 something wins and 14 losses. I ended up taking 2nd at state, and my bracket was pretty tough at state. Had to go through a couple good guys. And I'd say overall it was just a pretty good year. My school actually moved up to the highest class 4, when I got into high school. So it was good to be able to wrestle, in the best class in the state. So that was something that I really enjoyed.
So as a freshman, after winning 5 or 6, youth state titles, you come in and, you get to the state finals. I'm sure that felt, pretty darn good for you to be a freshman at a weight like 170, where you see guys that are, 5'9", 5'10", and just jacked off their mind.
Yeah.
And you're, 6 foot tall, about, so what, you're freshman? So what, you're 14, 15 years old?
Yeah, I think I was 15.
15 years old, 6 foot tall, 170 pounds of length, and you find yourself in the state finals. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about how that match went for you.
Yeah, so I guess my state tournament, I'll talk about the state tournament and then the finals match. Getting to the finals, I beat in the quarters. I beat a kid that wrestles at West Point now, who's pretty good. And then all the semis, I think, my semis of the whole bracket were all the 4 qualifiers from my district. So only four guys from each district, and there's 4 districts, go to the states to make it a 16-man bracket. And so all 4 of the guys that placed at my district made to the semis. So I thought that was pretty cool. Ended up winning my semis match. It was a close match. And wrestling the finals match, I wrestled a kid named Colston DeBlasi, who is he committed to Iowa State, wrestled at Iowa State for a little bit, and then ended up at George Mason. Pretty tough kid. We wrestled 2 times prior to our finals match, and I think it was he beat me once 2-0, and then 7-2, and then in the finals he ended up beating me 5-0. So it was a pretty tough match, and he was super strong, and he was hard to beat. And I mean, I never beat him, but I ended up losing and taking 2nd. And it was a pretty good tournament. I wrestled a pretty good tournament. I was proud of myself, but
hey, you got to be proud of being 15 years old and being right next to, being up on that podium at the state level. I'm sure you're pretty proud of yourself. So I guess we'll move on to your sophomore season. So do you really remember doing anything, in specific that kind of, made yourself, did you work super hard over the off season? Did you just keep wrestling all year long? Do you remember doing anything specific?
Yeah, I think the most specific thing that I can remember training wise is I played football too.
Yeah.
And then when it came to football, I always made sure in the summer I practiced whatever we did football wise, and I did whatever I did wrestling wise. So I would never miss a practice of either, and I'd make sure I was there at both. So I mean, I was training quite a bit during the week in the summer. Um, but yeah, I trained all the time, and my diet growing up was always pretty well, so I always had a pretty good diet. And yeah, I just say my training got harder as I got older, and yeah, I stay consistent, and I think that's one of the main things is I stay consistent.
So what position do you play in football?
Football, I played tight end Indian. So, and then I long snap too. So that was pretty fun.
All right, so you play football. So did you go to any big wrestling tournaments over the summer?
Yeah. So I actually missed one summer. My old sided cadet. I missed that summer because I had surgery on my shoulder. But towards the end of my high school career, I finally was able to go to some big tournaments. And I wrestled in Fargo, the Southern Plains. I wrestled in those a couple times. But the pinnacle of high school national tournaments is Fargo, and I went to Fargo. So
Yeah.
can say I did that.
Yeah. So you went to Fargo, and how did you? Do you remember how you did at Fargo?
Yeah. So I won Fargo. I went at the going into my senior year. So that summer going into my senior year is the year I went. I won against Hayden Maley. He wrestles at Stanford right now. But I won at 220, weight class 220. So juniors 220.
Wow. All right, so I guess we'll just hop quickly into how your sophomore season went for you. If you could just want to run through that, we can just start.
Yeah.
You qualified for state, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just start the state tournament then.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, so won my districts, got to state. I think I came in with like a 50-something and 2 record, and ended up making it to the finals. I don't really remember how and the semis I had a pretty close match. That's what I remember. It was against a returning state runner-up, I think. Pretty close match. I wrestled him at districts the week before, and I think I teched him. But this time it was a pretty close match.
So wait, what weight class were you at now? You were at
182. Yeah, 182. So I went from 170, 182, 195, 220. Yeah. So I'm at 182. Like I said, had a good semis match. And then going into the finals match, I haven't wrestled this kid all year, but I wrestled him in youth quite a bit. And we always had some back and forth battles in youth. And I end up winning, I think, like 5-1. So that was my first state title.
You're a sophomore, and you got beat 5-0 the year before in the finals, and you beat a kid 5-1. I'm sure that that felt pretty good to you. To see be on the top of that podium as a sophomore after being just short your freshman year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was sweet. It was I felt like I had unfinished business, and I think the biggest thing for me was that season was I remember a quote like my dad told me, or a saying he told me. He was like, "Okay, you took second your freshman year. If the way you should look at it is, if you do worse than second, it seems it kind of shows you didn't really improve from the past season. And if you take second, it shows you're staying consistent what you did last year. And then, the next best thing is obviously first. So if you get first, it shows that you're getting better and you're improving at what you're doing.
Especially in a state like, Missouri, you've had guys pass through there You know, when you're a little kid, did you ever go watch a state tournament at all?
Oh yeah, I think I went to about 4 or 5
So
high school tournaments.
you've seen Jaden Cox, right? The state tournament.
Yeah, I watched Jaden. What I can remember, I remember Jaden's last state title, his
Yeah, he
fourth
wrestled
one.
heavyweight.
Yeah, that was a fun match to watch. He just so quick and agile, and he makes anyone look silly
Yeah.
nowadays, So he's just so good.
Well, I heard he was like 221, but he just didn't feel like cutting any weight in general. He just knew
Yeah,
that he was so much better than anybody. Because I remember the year before his junior year at 220, he just casually took the kid 26-10 in the second period.
yeah, he was. He was a freak coming out of high school, and he didn't really have to do anything, whether to go from 220 or heavyweight. Either weight class was his. So
Yeah.
it was
Because it's
probably more.
insane
It
if you
was
think
probably
about
more.
it. Yeah. You know, like you've
Yeah.
seen the guy wrestle all throughout high school. He was obviously the guy from Missouri, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody can come close to him. 4 different weight
He was.
classes, 4 titles. And now you see him as like the number 2 guy in the world right now behind Sajulaev. And he could very well become number 1 if he beats him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. He's the man. He brings great technique to what he does, and it's always something new. It seems like every time I'm watching him wrestle. But yeah, he's just an animal.
Yeah, so a successful sophomore season, of course. State champ, finally get that unfinished business done. Get that big one in the finals, and I guess we'll just hop right into your junior year. So obviously, you probably did qualify for the state tournament again.
Yeah.
So we'll hop in with the state tournament again.
Yep. So I won my district. Got to state. I think came in with a record of something like 50-something and 1, something like that.
Do you remember who you lost to? Do you remember that one loss?
Like junior year. I do, yes. It was against a kid named Donovan Benetti. I lost to him at Kansas City Stampede. I was winning like, I don't even remember, like 6-3 or 6-2. And he came back in the third period and ended up beating me. But yeah, it was a tough match, and it was with one I wish I could have back, but I was dealing with some things, so I'm not gonna hold that against him, against myself. But yeah, he was better than me that day, and I actually wrestled him in the state tournament that year, so that's why I kind of remember that.
All right, so you're in the state tournament again after being a champ, but this time you're at another weight class. You're at 195. So do you remember how tall you were around at this point? Were you still?
Yeah, I think I'm about 6'2", 6'2.5". I think every year, I went up in weight class. I probably grew an inch. So
yeah. So you're obviously a pretty solidly built 195-pounder at that point, being like 6'2", almost 6'3". So
yeah,
I guess you could just talk about how that state tournament played out for you.
Yeah, I guess first round and then quarters. I think I got 2 pin. I pinned both those guys, and I got to the semis. I wrestled that Donovan Benetti, great guy. He wrestled at Drury now. I ended up pinning him in the semis to make it to my third finals. And then in the finals, I wrestled a buddy of mine that wrestles for Mizzou right now. His name's Jack Flynn. And we wrestled a couple weeks prior to our state finals match, and I beat him like 5-1 or something like that. And then when we wrestled in the finals, I think I won like 1-0. It was a pretty boring match, but it was gritty, and he's tough. He was strong, and kind of squirrely. So, but he's a good.
Hey, no matter what, you're another state title under your belt as a junior, and then I know you mentioned you went to Fargo, won Fargo. So
Yep.
now you're, a two-time state champ, one-time state runner-up, a Fargo champ. You're starting to build this plethora of things, kind of stacking them up on top of each other now, kind of building almost like a portfolio for yourself to, get some good colleges. So it's your junior year. Colleges are able to talk to you now. So how was that for you, college recruiting wise?
Yeah. So really the floodgates opened up after I won Fargo. I only had one
of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I only had one offer for wrestling before Fargo, and that was from Eastern Michigan. And then they canceled their program. So, but I actually had offers from football and wrestling.
What kind of big schools did you have for football?
Football offers wise, I just got offered from the academies. And then there were some D2 schools wanted me to come on visits. But I told them I'll either go play D1 football or I'll wrestle D1. Just because, I was lucky enough to have the option to go do both. And then North Dakota State was talking to me quite a bit, but I told them I was going to go wrestle by the time there was any serious talking. And then I went to Iowa for a couple visits, but kind of stopped hearing back from them once I kind of took my officials for wrestling. But I'd say after Fargo, when all the wrestling interest came in, there's schools like Mizzou, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, Arizona State. I'd say those were kind of the main schools that were most interested.
So, you come off a big Fargo win, which, obviously you see most guys that win Fargo are now, in pretty good spots in their wrestling career right now. You obviously join, a list of plenty of people who've won Fargo that are now, NCAA champs and, Olympic medalists and everything. And, I'm sure, you're proud of that, especially that was your first time at the tournament too.
Yeah.
To be like kind of almost like a nobody to Fargo, because I'm sure there's people in your bracket that wrestled there 2-3 years, in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was there any memorable people you saw like ended up beating at Fargo that are now like wrestling?
Yeah. A really good high school kid. To kind of just go through my bracket.
Yeah.
My first match was actually against one of my teammates now at Mizzou, Cordell Duhart, or I guess second match, Cordell Duhart. My third match was, I don't know if you guys heard of him, Tyler Curd.
Yeah. He quit wrestling though, right?
Yeah. That's the guy that beat like Colton Schultz at Fargo and made the like bomb stuff and all that throws. So I beat him my third match. And then I beat this kid named Tunsil. He wrestles at Utah Valley now. I think Chase Tunsil. And then semis, I made it to I wrestled what's his name? I don't remember his name, but I think he's at Iowa State. I think he wrestled at Iowa State. And then in my finals, I wrestled a kid named Hayden Maley, who wrestles at Stanford right now. He's the heavyweight for Stanford. But I think he took an Olympic red shirt this past year.
So, obviously – what'd you say?
Do you qualify for the trials or?
I did not. No, I took 8th, and he had a place in the top 6 at the U.S. Open, so I took 8th.
Are you planning on going to the last chance qualifier or anything like that?
Yeah, I do plan on going to last chance. Whenever they announce when it is. But goal of mine is to obviously get to the trials.
Yeah.
Do the best I can. Right now at a young age, and
Yeah, you're still really young. Yeah.
The bracket's young too. Like if you think about it.
Yeah, there's you got guys like Kirk Levet, Stevenson, Paris. As a qualifier. Schultz. Yeah, Cassiope. All those guys are tough, and I think heavyweight is the toughest it's ever been. If you go through the list of guys at heavyweight, I mean, you can see guys that were cadet world medalists, junior world medalists, world team members.
Casper didn't want to agree with us on that, but
Jacob Casper said it.
Yeah.
He said when he was in college, it was the toughest.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm gonna have.
I mean, you have to consider that like the 3 guys that did place above him are all probably going to be Olympians.
Yeah,
and the fact that the guy who won it is like the most spotty is like, oh, he might lose to Jaden Cox.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Kyle Snyder is the questionable one just shows like how much depth there is in each weight class now.
Yeah, that bracket I'd say was damn tough. I mean, but who he took third in that bracket?
Or he lost. He got pinned by Desi in the 3rd, 4th match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That bracket was tough. And I remember seeing him throws like Sam Stoll.
He headlocked Sam Stoll.
Yeah. That was a tough bracket, and I mean, really, you can't go through an NCAA tournament without having a tough bracket. But
like if you think about heavyweight this year, you have guys like that. Like the rankings are garbage right now. Like the way they're set up, like and anybody that like actually knows the weight class can pretty much tell that.
Yeah.
Like after like the top 5 are set, all returning All-Americans. You have every from Stevenson to like Matt Stencil, right? I think Trent Holger is probably the last one. Then you have guys like Kirk Thiet ranked to like 16, which is like the one okay one because he's a freshman. You can't really rank him too high.
Yeah.
And then you have
Schultz
guys
is ranked like 156.
Yeah. And then you have guys like John Birchmeyer from Navy ranked like 70th, and like Fernandez from Cornell like 100 and something.
Yeah, it's crazy, and they're just trying to base everything off what's been in years past. But people get better, and everyone grows in the sport of wrestling, or some people actually get worse, if they don't work on their craft. But rankings, and at the end of the day, rankings don't matter. It's going to come down to the one tournament, and you see guys
break the bracket.
I mean, I can't say this past year because there was no NCAA tournament, but my freshman year when I wrestled in the NCAA tournament, I think at 184, 197, there's a 22 seed at All-Americans, I was a 20 seed and I made to the round of 12. So, rankings at the end of the day, they don't matter. And, who's going to win in the 3-day span at the NCAA tournament is what's going to be, the tail.
You got guys like Mekhi Lewis who ended up winning the whole thing, and he was ranked what? I think he's a 15 seed, something like that.
He was 8
seed. Yeah, I think he's 8 seed.
He was kind of low.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of people didn't really know his success on like the the world level.
Terrible guys throughout the season.
Yeah, I think Mekhi. I mean, when they wrestled, we wrestled Virginia Tech, and Mekhi ended up losing to our 65-pounder Connor Flynn, who was, I don't know what he was seeded at the NCAA tournament, but I think it was.
Well, Connor Flynn could say he beat a national champ. So
I think he was probably in the 20s, right?
Yeah, I think he was in the upper teens or 20s, but yeah, I think Mekhi, that was his only loss of the season, or
I remember he came in with like 2 or 3 losses.
Oh, he did. He might have.
He was the ACC champ.
Yeah, but that bracket was pretty tough, and
but he didn't wrestle any of the top guys until the national tournament. That's the thing. Like he was losing to like guys who were like unranked at that point.
Yeah. So, but like I said,
hey, no discredit to him. He's still a national champ.
Yeah. You can't take it away from him, no matter what happens. And at the end of the day, he was on top of the podium.
So speaking of being at the top of the podium, let's just hop right back into your senior year in high school and how that really played out for you at the state tournament.
Yeah.
You're at 220 now.
Yeah, 220. I don't remember the first 2 matches, but I assume they were pens. Semis match, I got a pin as well.
So you pinned your way to the finals again. The second year in a row.
Yeah, pinned my way to the finals, and semis match, wrestled a pretty good kid. We wrestled a couple times in the year. I pinned him once, and then I beat him like 4 or 5-0 one the other time. Then pinned him in the semis, and then when I got to the finals, I actually wrestled this kid that was committed to play football at Air Force. I ended up pinning him in the second period.
So you pinned your way through the state tournament, pinned your way to a third state title. You're in some history book now. Being a 3-time state champ in Missouri. Almost had a fourth. A tough loss your freshman year, and I'm sure you really do think about that match a lot. That you could have been a 4-timer.
Yeah.
But hey, still a 3-time state champ. Still, do you remember what your full career record is?
Oh, I know I got to 200 wins at my district tournament my senior year because today I was scrolling through some photos to send to my cousin for my brother's graduation. She was making a slide, and I saw that post. And so I got to 200 wins at district. So I think I ended with 207-ish career wins and then 17 losses.
That's obviously an incredible high school career. Obviously I'm sure you still have those state medals in your house somewhere. Those the big three.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not have won the Triple Crown in elementary, but you sure did in high school. You made up for those losses. So then it's time to make a decision. You wrapped up your wrestling career. Did you wrestle at Senior Nationals that year?
Going into college, I did not. I decided not to go to Fargo because I was weighing. What was I weighing? I was weighing like upper 220s, and I needed to get bigger for college, and so I didn't want to make the cut to 220, and I didn't really want to wrestle heavyweight. And I was just like thinking, I'm in college now. I don't have anything to prove to going back to Fargo.
Yeah, no. So at that point, when did you announce your commitment? Did you announce your commitment before or after your senior year? Your season ended?
I announced it during my senior year. I think in late October or early November, that early signing period. My senior year is when they kind of changed it to make it a little earlier.
Yeah.
So I think it was around that time when I committed to Mizzou. And then I actually didn't think I would wrestle in college until, I'd say a couple months before I signed. I was still debating between football and wrestling, and we had a pretty good football team my junior or throughout my whole high school career, but I didn't really start mainly playing until starting till my junior and senior year. So I always thought, I'd maybe go play football. And, I actually didn't commit to wrestling until, a couple months prior to I signed.
So did you ever win, did your team ever win state for football?
Yeah, we actually won my senior year. We won my senior year. It was a pretty wild game to say the least. We got scored on. It was a tie game, 28-28, and we got scored on with 57 seconds left. And and we got the ball at 25-yard line from the kickoff, drove all the way down and scored with 9 seconds left, and then went for 2 and then got the 2 and we won.
That's a risky play there. The state final, they go for 2 because you miss it, you're done.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then my junior year, we were in the state semis, and we were winning 31-14 going into half, and we ended up losing 34-31. So that was a pretty
tough loss.
Yeah, it sucked. So
you make your commitment to Mizzou. You're going off to Missouri, and I'm gonna pass it over to Akil, and he's gonna talk to you about that.
Sweet.
So before coming into your freshman year, you make the junior world team, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Yeah, I wrestled the trials in April, I think, or May, and I ended up taking second. But Kirk Levitt got hurt,
Yeah,
so I got the call.
towards ACL or something like that, right?
Yeah.
The craziest thing is, like, I remember he wrestled at U23s with the torn ACL.
Yeah, well, he actually wrestled at cadets.
Yeah.
He made U23s this past year,
Yeah.
but he's been wrestling, I guess, with the torn ACL for
Yeah.
I don't know however long he said. I think a couple years or a year or two.
That's crazy to think, like, that he still be like the guy of caliber of Jordan Wood with that
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was a great match too. Those
Yeah.
2 matches they wrestled.
I'm pretty sure he full back arch lat dropped him like.
Yeah, they actually they got into a nice little headbutt in one of the matches.
I don't think it was anything too crazy though. Like they look chill. They shook hands after.
Yeah. I think it was accidental, but the injury time I remember took forever.
Yeah, it was like a 20-minute match.
Yeah, it was a long match. I first clicked on the video when I watched it, and I was like, damn, why is this match 20 minutes? But yeah, it was a good match.
Yeah. No, so you're wrestling you get that call.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were the alternate before, you get the call, and now you're the starter. Like, what's the first thing?
Yeah, so I actually get the call. I was in Columbia. It was an off day. It was a Saturday. And I woke up to a missed call from Coach Smith and I think another phone number. And I call and Smith texts me saying KJ called him, Kevin Jackson, about seeing if I'd be interested in going and competing at Junior Worlds. That Kirklevet got hurt and I was the next guy up. And my parents were luckily in Columbia just visiting. And I ran to my dad. I'm like, Dad, look what Smith just sent me. And I think he was a little shocked. But it was I just got the call and I called KJ back and he asked if I'd be interested in competing, and I was like, hell yeah. But there was one thing, I didn't have my passport. So I had to go fly to Denver within 2 or 3 days, go get my passport. I think it's expedited or something like that.
Yeah.
And luckily I got a super nice lady to help me out. Got my passport with KJ. He took me to Denver, drove me and, around and everywhere I needed to go to get the passport. Did all the stuff that I needed to do for UWW, like photos, paperwork, and all that stuff. And so I got my passport 7 days prior to leaving, and had to cut 97 kilos is 213, I think.
Yeah.
And I was weighing the heaviest I ever weighed. I was weighing 230, 235. And so I had to cut, whatever that is, in 10 days. So that was another shitty thing.
So you got 17, 18 pounds.
Yeah. And it kind of sucked. I had to just change my diet real quick, dropped all the weight I kind of tried to put on, but that was probably the only terrible thing. But so got my passport, got ready to leave, left, and had a great trip, and wrestled at Junior Worlds. My birthday was actually while the tournament was going on, so I spent my birthday in Slovakia, which was pretty cool. And I wrestled some great competition, and I'm thankful to be able to go on a trip like that and wrestle in the World Championships. So
yeah, so so solid right there.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're coming to your freshman season.
Yeah,
you didn't redshirt, so you just talk a little bit about it.
Yeah,
a
going into
couple
my
matches that I want to save for the end, which is going to just be your match against Derek White. So
okay, yeah. So going into my freshman season, we didn't know whether to redshirt or not, because I actually had a torn labrum in my right shoulder. So I was beating the heavyweights in the room, and the starter from last year, I ended up wrestling him in our like black and gold match,
Mhm.
and I beat him like 7-1. So, we were kind of like playing around, seeing like if I should start or not and burn my red shirt right away. And the initial plan was like I could wrestle in the first 5 events, like whether if it's dual or tournament wise. And if my shoulder bothered me, I can just apply for a medical red shirt. I'll just sit out the rest of the season and apply for a medical red shirt and just get surgery like in January. And if not, like I'll just continue the whole season and wrestle. So that was the initial plan. So right off the bat, I didn't really have a red shirt, so I started the first duel against Illinois. Ended up winning that, and that match was outside. It was pretty crazy for a first college match, wrestling in 50-degree weather outside. But yeah, that was kind of to get the ball rolling, and had a really good first half of the season. Before Christmas, and then didn't have a so good season in the second part.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of how it started off, and how I just stayed the starter. So
Yeah. So, like 1 year, like you were pretty much like a nobody in the NCAA heading into this point until this one match, people kind of started to open their eyes. Derek White was, I think, number 2 at that point since he beat Anthony Cassar, lost to Gable Steveson. You're wrestling him. People were talking like, okay, he's either going to pin him or he's at least going to score bonus points here because he has to get them for a team at this point.
Yeah, we were down in the duel by 1 when it came into my match against Derek White, and I didn't think of the match to be like a 2-ranked guy versus I was like probably like 19 at the time or 20. I didn't look at it like that. I always I just wanted to go in and wrestle, and the atmosphere we had at Mizzou, there was like 6,000 people there, so it was crazy. But yeah, I can tell you, like, just from kind of the arena feel, no one really thought I'd win that match, and I mean I didn't win the match, but no one really thought I was gonna win or I was just gonna get my butt whooped. But went into the match and 0-0 after the first, and then I think he went down in the second. I rode him for about like 20, 30 seconds, and then he ended up getting an escape. And then I went down in the third, got up right away, and so it was 1-1. A classic old heavyweight match, 1-1. Went into overtime, and I honestly, like, that match. I was feeling like the best condition I ever had throughout the season. And I just felt real good going into overtime, and I tried getting some attacks off, and some things weren't working, and he hit a reshot one of my shots and took me down. It's a real bummer, but yeah, he beat me 3-1 in overtime, and that's definitely a match I wish I could have back, along with the like 12 others during that season. So
yeah, but like just being it from like personal experience, like I'm like a nobody, right? I wrestled a kid ranked 4th in the state who pinned me in the first period. First time we wrestled, kid had arms like twice the size of mine, just snapped me to my face, ran a bar, and it was pretty much over. And then I wrestled him in the county semifinals. I didn't win the match, but I ended up losing 1-0, He's like another guy you can't pick bottom on. He's going to ride legs and just
Yeah.
turn you every time.
Mm.
And then like I'm like, okay, I can stand with like some of the best kids in the state. Now we just have to get to the point where like I can score on them. So
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
So you must have like found like a new confidence to that after being able to like stand with a kid of like that level.
Yeah. I gained a lot. I was just more pissed at myself for losing. My confidence was, always the same. I always looked at myself of I can beat anybody on any given day. But I don't know. It just like, especially after that, I didn't like. I was seated second at the max. And I ended up taking third. I lost in the semis to like the 6th seed.
Colton,
Um,
right?
yeah, and I beat him like 10-1 earlier in the year, and I ended up going for a throw.
Yeah.
And throwing myself to my back and getting pinned in overtime. And and then like I said, ranked 20 at the NCAA tournament. I just think like I don't know if it was a whole confidence deal. It was just more of a mental. Mentally, I just kind of put wrestling like as like I defined myself as wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and I took too much. I put too much pressure on myself in order like to be successful. And really like I just lost the fun in wrestling. I just looked at it from like this is who I am and I'm nothing else. And now, it didn't help. I was wrestling with a torn labrum in my shoulder, but it was a struggle mentally and physically, and it was just hard to deal with. But I can't say I'm glad how the year ended. Losing in the round of 12, but one thing I can look back on is I'm glad I didn't redshirt. I'm glad I got the experience to wrestle the NCAA tournament, because if I would have redshirted, then I would be competing this past year, and then I wouldn't have even had an NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it like that. Look at the positive in things, and I think now with redshirting this past year, having my brother come to Mizzou this next year, and having Dom now, and kind of a new coaching staff this past year, just gives me I've grew a lot mentally, physically as a wrestler, and and a lot of things the past couple of years was not only dealing with mental aspects of wrestling, but also just physical. I've always had to deal with an injury, whether if it was like sophomore year, I had a torn labrum in high school. Junior year, I had a lumbar stress fracture in my back. And then my senior year and freshman year, I had a torn labrum in my right shoulder. So, it was always some, nagging thing wrong with me. And, I pray like I continue to just stay healthy like I am now, and can get through a season healthy. But that's just something that was always in the back of my mind. And, I look forward to be able to compete without, that problem or that problem in the back of my mind.
Yeah. So going back to like the national tournament a little bit, you're
Mm-hmm.
given the 20 seed. You didn't have the greatest conference tournament, but still a
Yeah.
solid finish as a freshman. You got third.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was coming for that number one spot from Stencil, right? Already the defending champ, but it probably wouldn't have been a good match, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we wrestled earlier in the season, and it was like 1-1 going into the third period, or it was 1-0.
Yeah.
And he got an escape, and it was 1-1 during the third period. I think I got hit for stalling twice, so it was 2-1. So I hit this shot, and Stencil like sprawled and like folded me and put me like in a perfect cradle.
Yeah, he hit that on Mason Paris also.
Yeah, and ended up pinning me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean he's tough,
Yeah.
Stencil's tough, and he's a really big guy. But man, I look forward to wrestling him again, and wrestling all the guys again.
Yeah. It's an interesting matchup for a lot of guys. You see, like, I think if anybody was gonna knock off Gable last year, people was like, "Oh, it's gonna be Mason Paris." I think it might have been Matt Stencil because if you look at a guy like Stencil, he has the size, not necessarily speed, but like he has like the slickness.
Yeah.
Like hit very good defense on guys. Like you see him hitting the splits on Mason Paris and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think Gable's a guy, like if he doesn't finish quick, he might be able to get that cradle locked up, like just like he did to Mason Paris,
Yeah, and I think another thing is like all these guys, that are in this heavyweight group, they're all big guys, but they're also athletes. They move real well. No one moves slow. No one's methodical. Everyone moves pretty well. And does a good job of just being an athlete. So.
Yeah, you see, even a guy like Nick Nevels from Penn State. He was a two-time All-American. He wrestles at the senior level a little bit. I think he was around like 280, maybe senior year of college. He's probably around. I think he lost about 50 pounds. Just like
he looks slim.
Yeah, to keep up with the pace of all these guys, Like again, like the only really bigger guys you see that can make it work are like Dom too.
Mm-hmm.
He has this quickness on his feet.
Yeah, Dom's just freaking powerful. And quick. But yeah, Dom. I think a lot of people really underestimate Dom's like power. Like he can finish a shot from like both knees, and I think that's one of the craziest things ever.
Yeah.
You mean his grown man strength?
Yeah, he's a grown ass man.
He's a grown ass man with grown ass man strength.
Yeah. I remember when
shoulders.
Yeah, when he yelled at Piles, I was right there, and when he got off, I was honestly like, what the hell I went over to him. I was like, what did you say? Like, what the hell did you say? And he told me, and then it blew up all over social media.
I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah.
The worst part is they just make him look like a dick. Like he's one of the nicest guys to talk to.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we talked after the match. He's like, he said, it probably wasn't good. I celebrated after, he got hurt, but, Dom was like, those guys counted me out. And they
said he was going to get tapped, right?
So, yeah, I mean, Dom getting tagged, I'd love to see that happen, but it's just good to remind them because Dom's one of the, I think, top 3 in this country, and really about to make that push to be the number 1 guy. So.
Yeah, like he's a top 5 guy in the world at this point.
Yeah.
There's only 2 real international guys at heavyweight. You have Taha and you have Gino. That's it.
Yeah, the Turkish and Georgian.
Yeah. So I forgot to talk about your actual NCAA tournament. You coming as a 20 seed. Who do you have? AJ Nevels or something first round?
No, first round I had George Mason kid.
That guy was really good.
Yeah, he was a 13 seed. I forgot his name, to be honest with you.
I know Nick Nevels beat him in sudden victory that year.
Did he? Yeah, he was pretty good. I think he took second at his conference tournament.
Yeah,
but he lost to that Lock Haven kid,
Thomas Haynes.
Yeah, Thomas Haynes, and Thomas Haynes was like ranked 11th or 12th.
Yeah,
so those guys were pretty good. But I had the George Mason kid first match, and it was 1-1 at the end of the third, so he went into overtime, and I took him down and won my first match. And then it was my second match. I had Jordan Wood.
Yeah.
And I felt really good going in Russell Wood, and he beat me 2-0. He beat me on a escape and a ride out point.
Yeah.
And then we went in and wrestled at the NCAA tournament in that'd be the round of 16. Yeah, round of 16. Yeah. And he put the hammer down on me. I think he ended up beating me like 4-0. He got an escape.
Jordan, right?
Yeah, Jordan Wood.
I think Wood had a
I
really
know.
tough tournament if you think about it. Like he had to wrestle Sam Stoll in the quarterfinals. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I think he
Did
won every match 2-0. I don't even think he got a takedown. I don't think
Yeah,
he got
I
a
don't
takedown
think.
the entire tournament actually,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
except for the
he's
first round maybe.
yeah, he. I don't think he took me down. I know he got an escape and he got 2 selling points out of me. Um, honestly, maybe 3, or no, 2 points and a ride out. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that, I was gonna say that.
But
because if you think about it, right? He goes in. I'm pretty sure he had like a 5. He was losing his round. He was losing his round 1 match against I think a 28 seed. He comes back with a
yeah,
takedown third period. That's one.
yeah, he was wrestling McCurran
Yeah,
from SIUE.
McKinnon
So
took down Stencil also that match.
yeah. In that conference, yeah, they had a close match at conference.
Mm-hmm.
McCarron had a great conference tournament.
Yeah,
And NCAA tournament. I mean, he had a close match with Wood, and I think he lost his second match on the back. So he lost too, but did a good job. And but yeah, Wood was tough. He ended up beat me, I think 4-0. Then I go on the backside and wrestle
Conan,
the Purdue kid. No,
Jacob
I wrestled the Purdue kid first. Yeah, and the Purdue kid actually beat me. He wasn't even an NCAA qualifier. We had a kid, the Buffalo kid that was in
No,
my
that was Sam
conference.
Stoll getting put in after. Because
No,
the Purdue kid beat
Sam Stoll was already in it. But Sam Stoll was like the 27 seed.
20,
He was
yeah, 20,
because he got an at-large bid, but there was a Buffalo kid that got an at-large bid that didn't end up weighing in and decided not to wrestle. I think he was hurt.
yeah.
So the Purdue kid was like next up, like he was like in the like secondary at-large.
How
I
does
don't know
that
what
make sense
that's
if the
called.
Purdue kid beat Sam Stoll?
Well, the Purdue kid didn't get an at-large bid. An at-large bid just comes down to like the committee selecting, who gets it.
So Sam Stoll was probably going to be first in line either way.
Yeah. So Sam Stoll's gonna. I mean, he got it just from, I think maybe who he beat during the year, and being a past All-American.
Yeah.
I think probably being a past All-American probably put him up there.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So I mean, yeah. So you got the at-large bid, and the at-large bid just seeds like 32, 31, 29, and 28. Those are, or however many at-large bids you have. Some brackets have 4, some have 5, and some even have 6. But yeah, I wrestled the Purdue kid. He beat me earlier in the year at Florida in overtime. I think he beat me in rideouts. Yeah. And I ended up pinning him at the NCAA tournament. I was riding him out on top, and he tried some roll, and I was like in a tight waist or a spiral ride, and I just stayed with it, and he ended up on his back, and I pinned him in the second period. And then my fourth match, but on the backside, Conan Jennings. Oh my gosh,
that's like your biggest win of your career, pretty much up until this
yeah,
point.
Yeah, it was just a barn burner match. I'd say it's the craziest match of my career.
Yeah.
It was wild.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he was huge. It went into overtime, and like the first overtime, one of the rideouts, I was on bottom, and I like reversed them like right at the end, like with 0 seconds left on the clock. And they initially awarded me 2, and then obviously Northwestern challenged it. And I was like, man, there's no way like they get this like, flipped. And I'm like, you know, I was like, I won this match. Like my ankle bands were already off. Like I just felt good. And they freaking reversed the call. And I was like, out of all the matches, like you'll see a stats like come after an NCAA match, after nationals, they'll be like 15 out of the 90 challenges were reversed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like one of a handful that gets reversed. And they didn't even give me like one like for separation or whatever.
Yeah.
So they gave me nothing, and we go into overtime 2. Nothing happens again. I think, yeah, I ended up riding him out, and he ended up riding me out. And we go to overtime 3, and no one gets a takedown, and he rides me out. So it's his choice, and instead of going down, he chooses neutral. Because after the second overtime, there's a rule, like whoever has the most riding time, if it's still tied, wins.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't need to go down, because if I would have rode him out, it would have been 0, and we would have just gone into overtime 4. So he had like the riding time advantage with the 30 seconds of riding time. And, I had to get a takedown, or they'll just give him one at the end of my 30 seconds, and he wins. So he chooses neutral, and so I got to get a takedown to win. And I'm just like moving him, trying to set up a shot. And I hit the sweep, but man, I am so freaking tired. And he's like sprawled, and I like hook his leg with mine, and I kind of just drive him with my head over, and he falls to his hip, and I score with like 2 seconds left. And I was like, oh my gosh, this was like such a grind. It was one of the like grittiest matches I've ever had. And I just, I really had to be smart the whole match, because, I mean, the guy weighed 280, all of 285. Yeah. And I wrestled the whole season like weighing 220 to 225. So.
Yeah. Was it like right up periods? Was it like he was dominating on top, or was it just like he was barely getting by?
There was like some periods where, he was riding really tough. Just he was real heavy, and then like I said, like I reversed him with like 0 seconds on the clock in one period, and then like during the match I got an escape. So, or no, I didn't get an escape during the match. I actually got a riding time point. Yeah, that's what I think that happened. So, like I said, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough.
You win that match, your body's just like probably hurting at this point. You wrestle a lot of matches. You're just, by the third day of the tournament, you're just extremely sore. And like the semis are going on, so nobody's really watching you guys during the blood round.
Mm-hmm.
This is your biggest match of your career at this point. Hilger's a freshman also. This is his biggest match too. We already talked with him about what happened, but then let's just hear your viewpoint on it.
Yeah. Actually, so it was still the second day. I had to wrestle Hilger. Yeah. So I wrestled Jennings like midday, and then I had to come back tonight and wrestle Hilger on the second day.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'd be lying to you if I told you my body felt great. I was really freaking tired, but I just had to push through it. I had one more match, to become an All-American. Mm-hmm. And so I went into wrestling Hilger 0-0 first period. I think it was my choice in the second, and I chose neutral. And looking back on it now, maybe I should have went, but thought I could get a takedown. We chose neutral, and it didn't work out. So 0-0 going in to the third, and he chooses down and gets an escape right away. And now I got to get a takedown to win. I didn't get the takedown, so he beat me 1-0. It sucked. Sucked really bad. I was so close, and I didn't handle it well. I went into that locker room, and I probably cried for like an hour. Yeah. it sucked, but looking back, I'd rather be able to wrestle in the NCAA tournament, make it to the round of 12, than not to be able to have a season, due to like something you can't control, like the coronavirus. So I look at it like that. I take the positive out of it. I'm thankful I'll be able to get to wrestle at 4 NCAA tournaments. So
So another thing I wanted to touch on is well, actually, we'll just talk about that match. Hilger's not a guy you can really pick bottom on that much unless you're 100% confident you can get out. Because I know you would rather lose the match because you couldn't get a takedown from neutral than getting written out.
Yeah, I think going into that match, our actual game plan was to go down and just get away. You always want to go down and be able to get away. Hilger's tough on top, but yeah, our game plan got changed. Smith told me to go neutral during the match, and that's just what I did. But yeah, he's tough on top. But there's a lot of guys tough on top, and to be able to win matches, you gotta get out from bottom. So.
Yeah.
I should have went down, didn't, and it happened. So, but he's tough. He won the match. So.
That year was an interesting tournament, just the way everything was seated.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Hilger he was rightfully seated above you at that point. If you think about it, I don't think you guys wrestled.
No, we didn't wrestle earlier in the season, no.
Because if you look at the seeds, Derek White rightfully got the 1 seed. He beat Kassar at the sudden scuffle. Mm-hmm. Not many people are going to agree with that. He wasn't the best guy in the bracket. But, in my opinion, the best guys in the bracket would have went Anthony Kassar, Hart Gable, Stevenson, then Amar Desi.
Mm-hmm.
The toughest part is having all 3 of them on the same side of the bracket. Then you have a guy like Trent Hilger, a guy like Yusuf Hamida on the same side of the bracket also. So, the bottom half was stacked. But the problem with you guys is, if you lose on that side, if you lose on the top side of the bracket, which you were on as a 20 seed, you're getting stuck against either Hamida or Trent Hilger in that match.
Yeah.
Those 2 probably aren't good matchups. You just know.
Yeah,
Hamida's
yeah.
a guy who's taller than you.
Yeah, Hamida and I worked out once when he wrestled Dom in this scrimmage duel we had. Hamida's a good guy, and I wish I was able to wrestle him during the season. Who knows how it would have went.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was wrestling guys close matches, just like a lot of the heavyweights were. But he's pretty good, and but so am I.
Yeah.
So.
The craziest thing I saw, I think the craziest match I saw that tournament wasn't any the big matches. It was Gable Stevenson beating Amar Desi 11-1. That's
yeah,
not.
Was that on the backside?
That was in the quarterfinals.
Oh, quarters. Yeah.
That's crazy to think about too. The fact that Amar Desi was probably going to be the Olympic star, and he's beaten guys like Adam Boone. He's had a 1-point match with Nick Wisdowski in freestyle. I think him and Dom. He might have beaten Dom before. I think they split matches.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, Amar Desi's pretty good, and wish I got to wrestle him too.
I'm pretty sure he pinned Trent. So.
Yeah, he pinned him. I think next match, that's who, the winner of me and Trent's match was going to wrestle. I didn't even watch it.
I don't know how he dropped the match to Jordan Wood though. That kind of still doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, Jordan Wood had a good tournament himself.
I just think Amar Desi is a lot better than him. They're both insanely good. I just think Desi should have easily taken that 4th spot.
Yeah, it's a tough tournament. Yeah. It's one of it's like I said, you got guys that have made world teams, all from different age groups, and all wrestling in one tournament. Yeah. So it comes down to the day you wrestle and who's going to be the better man that day, better wrestler that day. Yeah. It's just what it comes down to. So
you had some insanely good guys falling in the blood round. You had yourself, you're a true freshman. you made an insane push from the 20 seed to make it to the round of 12.
Yep.
You have a guy like Mason Paris, who's I'm not going to consider that an upset, getting Sam Stoll, but seeding wise, an upset. Most people won't consider it that. And then you have a guy like Sam Stoll losing the blood round to Hamida, and then whoever Desi beat in the blood round.
Yeah, Desi beat this kid from Brown that ended up beating Demetrius Thomas on the backside, or on the front side, something like that.
That's insane. Like I had Demetrius Thomas, maybe making that All-American.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And I don't know if this was the same Brown kid that I wrestled at Cliff Keen, but I think it was.
I think he would have had to graduate.
What's that?
I think he probably graduated, or else he'd be ranked.
Oh no! I'm talking about that year. So yeah. So at Cliff Keen, yeah, I think his last name starts with like a V. He was a senior my freshman year, so he did graduate. I don't think he competed this past year, but yeah, I think it was the same guy that I wrestled at Cliff Keen, the one in Vegas, the Cliff Keen tournament in Vegas, and I beat him 2-1, and then that's the same tournament I wrestled Demetrius Thomas at for third. So, but yeah. And then so he lost, I lost, Paris lost, and then Sam Stoll lost. Around 12. Yeah, he lost to Hamida.
Yeah. He beat Hamida earlier in the season too,
Yeah. It's just, comes down to, NCAA tournament. So
what was it? I think Amar Desi's a 4-time All-American, right?
Yeah, 4 or 3. I'm not real sure.
I know he All-American 2016, didn't wrestle 2017. I can't find out about 2015. I'll probably try to figure that out, but he's probably the third guy.
I don't want to speak for him or because I don't know. You'd have to look it up, but
he's had some solid matches.
I know. I know he's All-American twice.
No, I know it's 3 times at least. He placed 5th.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got that 4th, But
yeah,
I remember his match against Adam Kuhn. You might have seen it in the NCAA semifinals. Kuhn took a shot. He flattened Kuhn almost right to his back.
Oh yeah,
And then he was up like that, and then Kuhn gets on like a sweep single with like 30 seconds left in the third period, barely scores with it, and rides him out.
Yeah, I think I kind of remember that. Yeah,
I think the main problem with him is he's from Canada, so he's never really wrestled folk style. So the top bottom game was kind of was hurting him. I think that's probably why he lost to Jordan Wood. If you think about it.
Yeah. I didn't watch the Jordan Wood versus Desi match. But yeah, Jordan Wood's freaking tough. Amar Desi's tough. Yeah, they're 2 good guys.
Yeah, so no, I'm just going off topic right here. My bad.
Oh no,
so we'll get back to you. So you were one of the lucky guys who took a red shirt last season, so you didn't have to basically forfeit your whole season, which I still think is bullshit at that point. But so you took a red shirt. Some crazy things happen. You have guys like Spencer Lee is never going to be 4-time national champ. Gable is probably going to claim that natty this year. A guy like Demetrius Thomas is never going to be an All-American. Aaron Brooks could possibly be 4-timer. That's never going to happen. You have guys like Chenzo who couldn't get that last national title. And then, how many others? Colin Moore is never going to be national champ. Some guys like that have been up there. This was a year to put it together. It's over.
Fletcher.
Luke Fletcher. No, that was another big one.
Mark Hall.
That's just tough to see, right? And then you have guys who just got away, like Yanni.
Yanni
can still be a 4-timer. Just lucked out. You have guys like me who took red shirt and all that. Just being one of those guys who took the red shirt, you're obviously grateful that you didn't have to forfeit your whole postseason at this point. Just what was your reaction to it getting canceled? Because I know it's different because you weren't actually going to wrestle either way. So
Yeah. My reaction to it was like, so the way we found out was we were in the middle of a bike workout, like the guys that were going to nationals, the starters, and then me, because I was training for last chance qualifier, which was a week after nationals. So we were all in the middle of a bike workout, and like right once we finished, Smith told him the news, and I was like, damn, like, right after a bike workout, like, because assault bikes are pretty tough.
oh, yeah, I got one.
And I was just like, damn, that's so shitty. But like, I was definitely like, there were some guys, crying, but like, I had no reason to cry, or to, be all pissed off. Like, all of them were, because, I wasn't really affected by it. Dom and I have talked, and we're like, Dom has said to me, like, damn, you look like a genius right now, and I'm like,
Zach, you, Yanni,
like,
all those guys look like
yeah,
like you felt relieved to a point where like, you feel bad for your boys because like I think a good amount of them were probably seniors.
yeah. There was a couple.
They might have just got that chance to wrestle at the national tournament, which is the stage everybody dreams of wrestling on.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah,
it just gets taken away from you.
yeah. It was super shitty, because it's like everything you work for is for the NCAA tournament. Nothing. There's nothing in season that proves anything. Everything is proved at the NCAA tournament. And that's just where history's made.
Yeah,
So it just sucked.
it's like you kind of like have to like act like you feel bad for them, like in like on the inside like you're relieved, like but you just don't want to act like a dick. Like
Yeah,
you're
no,
relieved that like it's not your season, but like again you still feel bad for them, but like on the inside like you're kind of like happy that you took the red shirt.
yeah, I felt real bad for they're my teammates, and I
Yeah,
feel bad for them. And I it wasn't like a more of a relief. It was just like I just kind of think of like I'm somewhat religious, so I'm like
yeah,
saying, okay, this is like how God works. Uh, you know, one door opens, another door closes. So with a grain of salt, and keep moving forward. What's the next thing? And but yeah, I really did feel bad for my teammates, because I just tried to put myself in their shoes, and if I didn't redshirt and that happened to me, I'd be real pissed.
yeah.
a lot of people say it's unfair. A lot of people think that they should, be able to get another year.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know how they would do that because, like guys like Spencer Lee would get like unfair, like he would automatically be like the win leader after his career is over. Like they might have to like take back those wins. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, or if they just did the tournament, like just wrestled the tournament.
Yeah, but so many guys are like, some of these guys are probably 40, 50 pounds over their weight class by this point. The guys that just like graduated.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is, like, you can't have another tournament right now, especially this late, because one, not everyone has an access to a wrestling room to practice.
Yeah.
And I know, most of all colleges, not everyone is at their university, so no one's holding practices. Yeah, you can't really just give the guys an extra year, because they wrestled, 99% of their seasons. So
yeah,
It's like that one tournament that matters, which is the tough part.
Yeah, so you look at like medical red shirts. You can get a medical red shirt like 20% of your season, which is like your 5 events. Olympic red shirts, you can't wrestle anything. And then just your regular red shirts, you can't wrestle for the team. But it's just hard to say like, okay, you wrestle 99% of your season, so we'll give you an extra year.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work like that. And the money issue with everything. I mean, NCAA is already having losses with not holding the NCAA tournaments with basketball and all the other sports of wrestling and, the couple others. And then obviously like the spring stuff, there's just a lot of money lost. So, I don't think that was even on their mind. I know like there's talk about it in the council, but like it's just there's not a solid plan in place that like someone can think of where everyone benefits.
Yeah. So, they're making a lot of changes. Like, I think it's like the 2021-2022 season, NCAA athletes are allowed to start profiting, making money off their name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think that really applies to a lot of people in the NCAA, Because
Yeah.
some guys who run like YouTube channels, stuff like that. Or like you
Yeah.
have these top guys like Gable, who has like over 100,000 followers on all social media.
Yeah, I think it could be taken like it's just kind of like a image and likeness thing. So
Yeah.
you could start making money off YouTube, or if you were playing video games, you can make money off that. And like image and likeness is like someone like say you go out somewhere to eat, and they name something after you, something like that. Yeah. That's what I could really just think of. There's going to be people out there that, get money off it. The big thing I've heard people complain about is how can it be equal for everyone? I've always thought like, it doesn't need to be equal.
No.
It's like you earn the right to.
Like I don't want the same money as like Trevor Lawrence. I'm not gonna. I don't have the popularity, and I don't have the name recognition, and like it's it's this simple. Like the most popular people or the winners are gonna get the money. Like you can't like make everyone equal for image and likeness base. Like that doesn't make any sense. You can't have equal pay there. If you're good at what you do, and if people like to watch you, and people want them to be a part of your brand or whatever, you're gonna get paid. So I just think that's the way it should be. And I mean, I just don't understand how you can make things like equal for like someone that plays golf compared to the best football player in America.
So you see this a lot with like not even like the top D1 guys. Like RBY makes YouTube videos, but they're not really like anything like special. And he has like 1,000 subscribers, which you need to monetize your account on YouTube. But he really only has just because he's RBY. It's not because the content he put, like, it's good, but it's not like they're following him for his content. They're following him because of who he is.
Yeah.
And then you see guys like Caden Henschel. You probably know who that is.
I don't know. I've heard of him.
He's the biggest wrestling YouTuber out there. About 64K. He's still a high school dude. He's going D2.
Oh,
He won the state tournament. Yeah, and he hasn't monetized any platforms. But the thing is, like, if he does, it's like these guys. Like, if you can do it as a career, like, why not do it?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
cheap option.
It's your own image. It's your own name. If you want to make money off your own name, your own image, your own likeness, I mean, I just think that's a freedom, everybody should have. And, for the NCAA to like minimize that or, kind of take that away from you.
Yeah, because didn't this all happen because like that one guy had like a football scholarship to UCF or whatever?
Yeah, the guy, he has, I think it's Dockery or
Destroying.
Yeah, he has like 2 million followers now.
Yeah, 2 million. He blew up because of that. Because
the bad part is,
he
like,
was on Good Morning America.
The career for that.
Yeah, I remember reading an article about that where it was like he had to choose whether YouTube or to play football, and he took a chance on himself and chose YouTube. And
he was on that. Everything. He was on SNL. He was on Good Morning America. He was on everything.
Yeah. Good for him, though. I mean,
now he's rolling in the cash.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're a guy like my channel, basically nothing now. It's like 700.
Yeah.
And that's all because I made an Austin DeSanto highlight video, and it got like 300,000 views. Yeah. Every time you see DeSanto wrestle and do something stupid in a match, I'll get like 10,000 views the next day. And like, I had to delete it due to copyright reasons, but it got me like 700 subscribers. Like
Yeah.
right now, we're just doing this for fun. Like just talking to guys. Like I already have connections like most of these guys, you know.
Yeah,
So it's cool to like be able to talk to the guys like a guy like Jacob Casper who's going into his junior season, which is my like sophomore season of wrestling. I started my freshman year. He was like one of the guys I used to look at a lot. And again, you have guys like Adam Kuhn, Kyle Snyder, even Amar Desi. And like being able to talk to these guys that I used to look up to is just crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's sweet what you guys are doing, and it's very creative. You know, a lot of there's no one else thinking about this
And
and
you see
reaching
like
out to high level guys. So
yeah, and because like most of these guys, you know, like if you look at it, like the guys that normally just don't care enough are normally like the lighter weight guys, but
yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
I haven't met a single heavyweight to this point who's like an asshole like that.
Mason Paris.
Nah, Paris deserves the right to be mad at me for what I said.
No, Paris.
Oh.
All right, so I messaged Paris to come on the show, and he replied with the one-word answer of LMAO. That was it.
Really?
That was it. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I was like, so is that a no? Or like,
Oh man,
like we haven't said anything bad about him. Like we don't just sit here like trash him. Like not to the point where you should be mad. Like
I don't know.
I mean, I had Trent Hilger losing to Demetrius Thomas.
Nobody
but
watched that video though. That was a 3-hour long video.
It was a 3-hour long video, but I still had Gas Tank Gary losing to Zachary Knight in one.
Oh yeah.
Zachary Knight Ward's an interesting dude too.
Yeah.
I've never talked to him. Is he the kid from Hofstra?
Hofstra,
yeah.
Yeah, I
steal that job.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But man, that stinks about Mason. I wonder why you said that.
Oh no,
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm a good dude.
I remember I
don't
posted like
anybody.
I remember like every time like I would literally like his freshman year like he came off with like that win over Desi, which was huge, and then he just started losing like a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I posted a video of him losing to Matt Stencil.
Oh really?
Yeah, he also posted that on TikTok too.
It didn't get that. I remember one video blew up where like Lat dropped a D1 commit.
That did blow up.
The kid's whole team came at me. It was hilarious.
The Adam Kyle Snyder video on TikTok, that one blew up.
The one where my teammate hit a splate on some freshman and made him cry.
Yeah, that video all of a sudden, it blew up out of nowhere on TikTok.
And the worst part is, the kid who he spladed, he's in the same grade as me, right? This was my freshman year.
Uh-huh.
The kid went like 2-14 as a freshman, and then he ended up going like 39-6 as a senior.
Good for him.
Yeah, the kid. I feel bad. Like the kid got good. Like I don't want him to see that video, but like I knew he was gonna get views. I kind of had to post it.
Yeah.
Like I've posted things of Paris. You know, like every time I post Paris getting beat.
You don't like it.
I posted him getting taken down by Chase Beard.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah.
Do you and Don Bradley actually send our videos back and forth? Because he told us that you send videos of us back and forth.
I may have sent like one to him. But like I always send them stuff that's like transfer portal things or I really just like we send that stuff back and forth. Or like coaches changes. That's what I send the most.
I think the most interesting thing is like I'm not even like you know how the name of my page was like the Heavyweight Memes before?
Mm-hmm.
It was Heavyweight Nation. I just think like Heavyweight Nation looked better for like a brand name.
Yeah.
But like I'm like not even like that much like I still post memes and that stuff, but like I'm also doing like just videos, like news outlet, like news and stuff. So I'm
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you guys are growing your page pretty well, and people want to see the content, so that's what you're providing.
Yeah, I mean, I hopped on the train a little bit late to hop on the ride, but hey, I'm here now.
You don't know the story, so I just started these random interviews where I was interviewing like random people because I knew I had a lot of D1 followers, and Derek wasn't even a part of it. And what was it like? I remember interview number 3. He just wanted to come in. He told this story about like how he wrestled, like where he's planning to go. And then like I remember a couple days later, you know how like they have the wrestling hype house and all that. I tried to start like a heavyweight wrestling hype house, so just people like so basically it's kind of like a capitalist thing. Like I get TikToks from people, I just post them, And I get free followers myself,
We
basically.
never got TikTok. No one ever sent a single TikTok.
Yeah, you
So
Really?
all of a sudden, did you ask me? Yeah, you
Yeah.
asked like the group. You were like, "Hey, let's come on and do." I think it was Penn State. The first video was the Penn State lineup.
hmm
Penn State lineup, and I'm a huge Penn State fan. I've gone to camp at Penn State for like the last 3 years straight. Like I'm a big Penn State guy, so I know pretty much everything about the Penn State lineup. So he had me on, and then all of a sudden, we were like, all right, well, come to Iowa, come to Nebraska, come to Ohio State. And then we were talking about, all right, we should get some guests on. So he created this big list of guests to have on. And then he was like, do you want to send the messages out? I was like, I gotcha. So I was the guy that was sending out all these messages. Gas Tank Gary Traub was the first guy we had on the show.
Really?
And then after that,
No,
it was
Caden
Caden.
Henschel.
No, yeah, we got Caden Henschel to come on. Then we got
Okay.
Gas Tank Gary. Then Evan Wick.
Yeah.
And then who else
Trent
was
Hilger.
after Wick? Hilger. And then
Dom.
Dom. Then Dom. And then last night we had then Venz,
Then Deacon.
Deacon,
Mm.
Jacob
Casper.
Casper, you.
Jeez.
And if you're listening right now, you'll find out tomorrow we're having Greg Kirklevitt on from Penn State University.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know if we're still supposed to call him Greg or Daniel, so that's kind
Yeah,
of
I'm scared to ask because everyone calls him Greg, but his actual name is Daniel. So do I call him Daniel? Do I call him Greg? I don't know what
I
to
just
call
think
him.
Greg flows better.
Yeah. I think maybe one name's his first name and the other's his middle name.
Middle,
I'm not-
yeah.
Greg
I think
Daniel.
it's Daniel. I think it's like Daniel Gregory Kirkwood that I saw online. That was like
Yeah. Yeah. Daniel's Greg, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys call him. But
No.
yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. He's awesome. So
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah, we really haven't had anybody that was mean. Jacob Casper was a little bit intimidating last night. He was very loud. He was very, very hard spoken. Like he was very like yeah. He was very in your face.
He just came at you. That's funny.
I'd want to wrestle Jacob Casper.
You
I would
would?
probably
You
try to throw him first, you know? That's
Yeah,
my
he's
goal with
pretty
everybody.
gross.
Yeah, this is going kind of long, so we'll just jump into my last questions before we go into Derek's whatever he talks about. If you could have, there's one match you're looking forward to next season, what would it be? Like, you know, you're in the MAC. Matt Stenzel's a 3-time MAC champ. You know, you could pull a huge upset right there. Or would it be to get revenge on a guy like Trent Hilger, something like that?
I'm not really looking forward to it. I mean, I'm just looking forward to, you know, whatever match is in front of me. You know, I think the thing I want to just have is my consistency back. You know, I want to get back in my consistent flow of just constantly winning. So, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to, you know, whoever steps out in front of me and competing. You know, I'm very blessed to be able to go out there and, you know, shake hands with these high level guys and, you know, wrestle. And, you know, I'm just thankful to be able to, you know, go out and compete, and I want to compete and be the best version of myself. So I say that's what I really focus on, and, you know, just go out, whoever's in front of me. That's who I wrestle.
So another question. You could pick one heavyweight of all time from any country. Only rules, they have to be heavyweight. Who would it be?
Wow. To wrestle?
Yeah.
Oh,
Past or present.
of all time.
Okay, he's back.
Man, I think I feel like Alexander.
Krillin? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see what I posted on my Instagram? The whole conspiracy theory thing?
I saw like him like looking up. Was that one where he was like looking at the camera all funny?
No, it was literally just a notes thing where I typed something out. So basically, we'll start telling this to everybody. But so, Rulon was a 1-time Olympian, right? Krillin was a 3-time champ. Rulon made a big push to the finals. It was expected to be a procession bout. You know, Krillin expected to attack him like he did the way through the entire tournament, to be the first ever wrestler to win 4 gold medals, right? And then, as we know, Rulon had that upset, the big one, you know. what kind of pisses me off about this, like people try to discredit what he did just because he won off of a broken hold, which I think like, I think it's kind of like it's kind of bullshit at that point. Like I don't think you should discredit, like it's a gold medal. Like I don't think anybody would be complaining. Like like Karelin took that like a man. Like Karelin was like, okay, I was out wrestled. Like he didn't make any excuses about that. And if he did, I don't know why people are making excuses for him at that point.
Yeah. I agree. I just Ruan was better on that day, so he won.
So the conspiracy theory part is, you might not know this. On the Flow interview, Colton Schultz said that he was born the exact same day that match went down.
Yeah.
So, and there's, as we know, the Greco dude at heavyweight is Mijan Lopez Nunez in Cuba. He's a 3-time Olympic champ. He's going to be going for his 4th, right?
Yep.
Colton Schultz will be at the 2021 Olympic trials, right? Rulan wasn't even projected to get the spot that year, and neither is Colton Schultz because of Adam Kuhn. What is the chance that Colton Schultz beats Adam Kuhn, makes it to the Olympics, makes it to the finals, and knocks him off in the finals?
Man, oh shoot, that would be crazy.
That would be
crazy was the fact like
wild.
he was born that day.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
He's a wrestler. He's in the
same
weight class. He does Greco. If you think about it,
that would be insane. And say he makes the team, the Olympic team. He's still, that Georgian or the Turkey guy, the other Greco guy, he's really good. He's beat the
Taha Ghul?
No, Riza.
No. Oh yeah.
Taha is freestyle.
I think he's Turkey. No, Greco. This guy's he's actually beat the Cuban at the World Championships.
Yeah. But then he lost 7-0 at the Olympics last time. So
yeah.
But you have to consider if he wins that 4th Olympic title, he's the best male wrestler of all time.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
I think the only really other guy at competition for that is Sajulayev. Still young, could very well win, 4 titles. But the main problem with that is, if you look at these Greco guys, they last longer.
Yeah.
Which is just mainly because you're not putting as much stress on your knees. You're not taking shots, obviously.
Yeah. You're wrestling, just upper body. But that'd be insane if he wins 4.
Yeah. I just wanted to be known that like he was called here first. So.
Yeah, I've never thought of that. And I mean, did you just think of that one day or?
It's been in my head since like I remember Colton Schultz saying that, but I didn't want to say something so stupid and then just get a bunch of shit in the comments,
Yeah.
Colton Schultz just commented that's the plan with the American flag.
Yeah, that's crazy. That would be. Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if that's backwards, but.
Oh no, I can see it.
You can see that.
He hasn't decided to come on the show yet. Colton Schultz, if you're listening.
Colton Schultz looks like more of like an introvert dude,
Yeah, he does look like he's quiet.
Like you can tell if there's guys like just don't want to talk, or guys that just like are just like dicks. Like I'm telling you, Sasso was like a guy who just didn't care about us, and then Echemendia just probably just didn't want to talk because you could tell during his Flow interviews, like
is that the Cuban?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just some guys that are quiet, just go about their business.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for now. We'll get into Derek's dumbass questions.
Welcome to my favorite segment of the show, Derek's dumbass questions.
We're
not
as always in general. Wow.
We're not getting monetized ever if we keep this called Derek's dumbass questions. But
no, we can't get monetized because I said shit like 5 times, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've also said ass about 4 times. So
but Joe Rogan can, so it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, welcome back to this segment of Derek's Dumbass Questions, and we always have to talk about food in Derek's Dumbass Questions because this is Heavyweight Nation Late Night Shots. Oh, Jacob Casper gave us a great idea, by the way, yesterday. He said our podcast should not be called Late Night Shots because we're heavyweights. It should be called Late Night Snatch.
Yeah.
Or what else is the other one?
Like I said, we shouldn't call it Late Night Shots. We should call it Late Night Snacks because there's not a lot of shooting going on.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
But I have to redo all the thumbnails at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to change the
That's
name
true.
on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify.
No, I don't. I just change on Anchor and then changes all of them.
Yeah, well, still, I mean, I think Late Night Shots is great.
Yeah, I like.
But yeah,
it.
if I see a podcast called Late Night Snatch come out, and I know who you are, I will find you. I promise. Let it be known that we created another name, and if it happens, I'm
you
gonna
gotta get
find
trademarked.
You know what I'm waiting for though? Like I'm waiting to get to the point. Like, you always gotta think like long term to an extent, but like also short term. Short term, you're focused on getting like 100 views on each of the thing. But long term, you're thinking like, what if that one day, Joe Rogan's been doing this for like 10 years, maybe 10 years in the future, I'm 27 years old, still relatively young. Say I somehow get like 1 million followers, it's like for normal YouTubers, probably like 10-minute videos, you're not making a living off of that. But if you put out 2-hour videos and people are watching them, like you don't realize how much Joe Rogan's making off of YouTube. It's at least like he's probably making just as much of guys like PewDiePie and Mr. Beast, right?
Yeah, the man makes a lot of money, and he just signed a contract to make even more money.
People go back and look at, and you get to the point like where you hit like 100 episodes, and you go back look at the first one to see how bad it was, and just like see like the growth throughout. Like if you ever, like you've listened to Joe Rogan probably a couple times,
Oh yeah, I listen to him every morning. Yeah.
I can never get through a whole one, but like I try to listen as much as possible before I just zone out.
Yeah.
The Elon Musk one where they shared a blunt's probably my favorite.
Yeah, he actually invited Elon back on recently, and that's the one I listened to. I didn't listen to the.
I think the first one is his most viewed one. It's like 35 minutes, something like that.
I didn't watch that one. I probably should, because I've heard how good it was.
I remember somebody has a podcast where they literally just talk about Joe Rogan's podcast, and they get like thousands of views on each one. It's crazy.
Jeez.
All right, well, back to Derek's dumbass questions. My favorite.
No, wait. I had something to say.
Yes, continue.
Have you ever seen Joe Rogan's first ever podcast?
Not the first ever one. No.
Like you don't gotta listen. You should probably just search it, like see how their setup was, and then compare that to like now. It's crazy.
Yeah, everything grows.
The camera's it's like 10 pixels a second. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. All right, Derek.
Well, back to Derek's dumbass questions. Welcome to Derek's dumbass questions. All right, number one, we ask everybody. It's the first question we ask everybody, right? Your go-to cheat meal. You're not somebody that's cutting weight to make heavyweight.
Yep. Go-to cheat meal. I'll tell you what. My weakness. My weakness is Pop-Tarts. Oh my gosh.
Pop-Tarts? What's your favorite flavor of Pop-Tarts?
S'mores. And I only really eat s'mores.
That's gross.
Oh man, you missed
strawberry, blueberry.
Oh man.
Nah, I'm siding with you on s'mores.
Yeah. You start at strawberry at a young age, and then when you get older, you hit the s'mores, and you're like, man, this is it.
I only hit strawberry when it's the only thing in the vending machine.
Yeah. They really never have s'mores in the vending machines nowadays.
But like strawberry and blueberry, like the flavors that are gonna sell no matter what. Because it's not like they're bad. It's like, oh, would I rather like if you don't see anything, you're going for something you want. Like in Pop-Tarts are like.
Pop-Tarts do slap though.
Yeah.
The problem is I just can't eat one Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Yeah. See and like I don't really have a cheat meal. I really just have cheat snacks. So it's like Pop-Tart and popcorn.
Popcorn. That's the snack of late night shots. We used to eat popcorn on every episode, but now that we have started having like guests on every night, we don't eat popcorn in front of them because we feel like that's weird.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
When we would do the lineup previews, we'd sit here and both just be eating popcorn while talking about the lineup.
Yeah. We had one where I was just laying down flat on my couch.
Yeah, he's literally laying on his couch with his laptop on his chest. And he's eating popcorn while talking about no, that was when we did like the best heavyweights ever, like 3 hour, 45-minute long video of the best heavyweight ever.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just would like play video games or watch a movie and just eat popcorn. I'd say that's like my big late night snack.
Do you have a special type of popcorn?
No, I just kind of get that like movie theater butter kind of.
Because I can't eat too much of that, and then your mouth just gets salty, and then
Yeah.
you have to drink something, and that's where the calories come in.
Yeah, I don't really drink like anything or not drink. I don't really eat like the plain, like where there's like no butter.
Yeah, but do you ever go with like caramel or something,
Oh no, I don't like I don't
or
really
like the
like
actual
caramel.
cheese?
No, I
Okay.
don't. I just kind of mess with like that movie theater popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And
do any
it's
funky
So
flavors.
and
yeah,
I don't and I only get Pop Secret. Like I don't really.
That slaps the blue. Is that the blue box with like the
Yeah,
purple label?
yeah. I just actually figured the name out is called Pop Secret. I always just went off like, hey, it's the blue
yeah.
box.
It's the blue box. Yeah.
I just get the bag
Um,
from Costco.
Oh yeah. I just like I mean I don't know if you guys ever heard this place, but I shop at like Hy-Vee or Walmart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like I don't know. It's the brand like I always kind of mess with. So
My
It's really
parents got this like zebra popcorn. So it's basically
uh,
popcorn. It's like stripes of like white and like milk chocolate on it.
ooh, that's dangerous.
And there was another one. It was a bag mixed with like cheddar and it was like caramel on one of them and cheddar on the other. It was
Gee,
like sweet and savory.
That
damn.
sounds good.
But the good thing
Yeah.
about those is like you can't eat too much of it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
you feel sick if you
yeah,
eat damn
because
near
it
all
goes like
that.
if you eat normal popcorn, it goes down so easy. You just don't. You're just like hungry again afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I really am. There's sometimes where I'm like, man, should I eat a second bag? But I'm
It's
thinking
like
about
I was
that.
never
Like
that big,
7:30.
and then I got to the point where like I was like, oh, I might actually have to start losing weight now. Like before, I was trying like that 250. I felt good.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I wasn't like jacked or anything, but like like it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always just been too damn big.
Yeah,
I'm like 315 right now. I might actually have to start this cut soon.
oh
Bro,
yeah.
I weighed in light this morning. I was like 304.
Yeah,
I
but
was
I'm like
feeling
4
good.
inches taller than you,
Yeah, still.
and I can
We'll see
drop
in
like 20
college.
pounds in a week pretty easily.
Yeah, I lost 17 pounds in 2 days, so don't talk. Continue. Back to my
And you went 0-2. And you went 0-2.
segment of the yeah, I went 0-2, but I
Okay.
still was
Okay.
we
Okay. Case
still
closed.
ended up placing we still placed at the same spot. You were one match away from regions, I was one match away from regions. So technically we placed the same spot.
I beat 2
Yours
D1
was in
kids.
Jersey. Yours was in Jersey, mine was in Pennsylvania. Which state's
Jersey is
known for
100 times
wrestling?
better than Pennsylvania. We have one division. I lost to a D1 commit 4-2 in sudden victory.
Huh? You're from Jersey. Quiet. Next.
There's
it's
one guy
my
in Pennsylvania.
Shh.
There are 7 other free spots. You have Hunter. You know who Hunter Keka is. He's the only guy out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know Hunter Kaka. I mean,
He's
I
the
don't know.
only
Excuse
guy.
me.
There's nobody
Back to
else.
my segment of the show.
Then stop
Number
acting
2.
like yours is better. So. Oh my god.
Number 2, when you're wrestling, you step off the scale. What are you eating? What's your post weigh-in meal?
Oh man, I really try to stay away from like turkey and meat, because it doesn't really feel like. So we weigh in an hour before we, whether if it's a duel or a tournament, and an hour or two before we wrestle. So just kind of with like the warming up and the preparation and kind of like nerves you're handling, I kind of stay away from meat because it just doesn't sit well. I'll kind of eat like a PB&J, but I mean throughout the day I just eat. I have like I said, I have a pretty good diet, so I just eat normal. I just nothing. I'm not eating anything bad. Might just eat some fruit. Get some water in me. Make sure I'm hydrated, and that's about it. Yeah. So I'm actually kind of eating. I usually eat before I get on the scale.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, what, like 50, 60 pounds under, so.
Yeah, I weigh. Right now I weigh about 240, 238.
Yeah.
So
It's like I get paranoid. Like I'll be like 280, and I have like a granola bar or something like in my locker, and I'll just be paranoid that like if we go to their place and like I step on, like I just have this fear of like the scale going up to like 5.1 or something.
yeah, I always
And
had
then
that. I always
it's just
had
like
that
the
in high
most
school.
awkward situation.
Yeah, I was always really nervous in high school where like when I had to like wrestle 182, I had to cut I had to cut from weighing about 193. And I mean I didn't have a lot to lose, but it was just like I'd always get so nervous of you know the water I drank or eating granola bar. But I wouldn't eat like once I knew I was on. I wouldn't eat for like the next hour, waiting for weigh-ins, and then I'd end up being like 0.5 or 0.8 under. You know.
Yeah.
Or
It's like if you just don't make weight for heavyweight, like maybe it's bad sometimes. It just looks different like than any other weight class. Like the 106 can miss weight by like 5 pounds. Nobody's gonna bat an eye. Then I step on, like if you step on a heavyweight, anything above 260, people just look at you like, damn.
Yeah, it's probably not the best look. Missing weight.
Nah,
Anyway,
my favorite thing was day 2 of the district tournament. Everyone steps on the scale, right? And one kid like weighed in the day before, like the first day of districts, like 13 pounds under.
Oh wow.
Kid steps on the scale, and he's doing whatever. He is 0.1 under.
Jeez.
He's 280. He's at this point it's 287 the weight. He's 286.9.
Damn.
I'm like, what did you eat? He goes, well. So we DoorDash Taco Bell, we DoorDash McDonald's, we DoorDash Burger King. We went out for pizza as a team after. And then we found out that the lobby had cinnamon rolls. So I ate 7 of them because I woke up and ate 7 cinnamon rolls. And he stepped on the scale 0.1 under. I'm sitting there like,
you know what the worst part is?
You did that. You did that, right? He was not feeling good after that.
Yeah, my body would not be able to react well, and I would not perform very good.
That's what pisses me off. Yeah, like these kids making like weight no problem, and then I'm out here running like 7 miles every morning. Like I'm not even eating that bad, and then like I have one. Like I eat normally. You have like one binge meal, like where you eat like a box of like Oreos or something, like half a box of Oreos or something like that, and then you wake up, you gain like 12 pounds. I'm like, that's not
okay. Evan Wick, yeah, that's what Evan Wick's favorite cheat food was. He goes, yeah, sometimes I just sit down and eat an entire pack of double stuffed Oreos.
Yeah, Oreos are really deadly.
They go down too easy.
No, it's not even that. It's like when you drink water, like it absorbs it so much.
Oh, I don't even drink. See, I don't even drink water with my Oreos. I drink it with milk, and I'm just like, but yeah, like you said, they go down easy, and I just like soak them in the milk, and it. Oh my gosh, it tastes so good.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find, like healthier snacks. You know, like
organic Oreos,
like air popcorn or something like that.
Yeah,
and then add like it's like actual seasoning to it, not like I don't know,
artificial. Yeah.
Because the main thing my coach told me was, like, I wasn't struggling to make heavyweight. Like, I came at like 300. The weight just came off because, like, you know, football, I was just chilling. I knew I could make the cut. And even if I don't, like, I was recruited for football. So, like, he was like, maybe I quit, maybe I don't. Like, you know, but, like, I didn't want to do that my senior season.
Yeah.
My coach literally told me just to cut all salt out because it would just make me feel bloated and, like, it would not let the water weight come off. And I was literally chilling at, like, 280 the entire season. Like,
that's true. You know, salt like and chips and stuff kind of absorbs that water, and then you can't really sweat it.
Yeah, it's like I've kind of played like my diet the wrong way for like the past 4 years, like just getting it straightened out. Like I know I'll make weight next year, like I have to do it, you know. Like the main thing is like I want to get down like that 270 range where I'm just there and chilling, like, you know.
Yeah, that's probably the best place to be.
Yeah,
like,
me on the other hand, I was sophomore year, coming into sophomore season, freshman year, broke my leg, come into sophomore season, step on a scale, a whopping 355 pounds. I look at my coach and he looks at me and goes, all right, you're making weight.
Yeah,
I was like, coach, how am I going to make weight? I'm like, I went home that day. I was like, yeah, I'm done wrestling. Coach calls me that night and goes, I'll see you tomorrow morning. What do you mean? I'll see you at 4:30. And from there it began. In a month and a half, I somehow went from 355 to 285 on the dot on a scale. Yeah. I had to cut 17 pounds in 2 days to weigh in at conference, because if you don't weigh in at conference, you can't wrestle district. Yeah. So I weighed in that conference, went 0-2, and he's like, I don't even care. He's like, I didn't think you were gonna make weight. I was like, yes, sir. End up going to districts, got 5th, 1 spot away from regionals. They wrote a newspaper article about me. I was on the news. They did all this stuff. I'm like,
you know what I did first match? So I'm thinking like I'm gonna be allowed to wrestle. Like hydration's not that big of an issue. I weighed at 287 for hydration just before practice. Like I normally drop about 10 pounds of practice. Like, and this is wrestling with like a 182. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a heavyweight. He's just not good. No, 182 was like one of the top guys in the state. So I go to hydration, think I'm doing fine. My piss comes out orange, which is not a good sign.
Nah, you
but
just
I'm
dump
thinking
half of it
that
out.
2 pounds in a week
half of it out, put some water in it, put the lid on it, shake it up, and hand it in. It's fine.
You know, that's what I did for my retest. I took somebody else's piss, put in a 5-hour energy bottle, and just walked in with it. But what happened was I failed hydration the first time, and then I'm thinking 2 pounds in a week, I'm still gonna be allowed to cut that, right? It's not even the call. Like I can make weight whenever. I go in for our first match the morning of. My coach tells me you're not gonna be allowed to wrestle because minimum my weight at that point was 285.2.
Yeah.
So this is where I was waiting for like this one D1 commit to wrestle him because I didn't think he was all that. You know, he's committed to Rutgers, and I'm like, okay, I think I can legitimately.
Here comes the story we hear every episode about how you drop the Rutgers.
So it's a quad, right? We say that the match was last. I wasn't even supposed to wrestle. My coach was like, "I'll get you exhibition match. We'll just forfeit to them at heavyweight, and we'll just stand where we we make a tunnel for them to run out. Just like if they see you and they forfeit, we can toss out a JV 220 or something like that to take the forfeit. Because like my backup heavyweight's injured too at this point. Yeah. So it was just like a complete mess up. The first match, the guy didn't want to wrestle me in an exhibition match. And we won that match 41-41 off of criteria.
Oh, damn.
My coach just looked at me so disappointed after that because like everyone's not allowed to wrestle. The other kid was the first year. They both didn't want to wrestle me. And then you have this D1 commit who also got 2 forfeits throughout the day because, again, they didn't want to wrestle me. They're not going to wrestle him.
Yeah.
I think one team threw out a JV kid against him. I feel so bad. The dude got bear hugged to his knees and like he got folded over his legs.
Yeah.
He was like one of those meatballs too. It looked painful. Like
poor kid.
Like he had to help the dude up. The dude would still not get up.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay. My coach goes over. He's like, can you get him an exhibition match or something like that? He's like, yeah, for sure. We want to get this guy as many matches as he can. Because in Jersey, you have like extreme fishes, and then you have like the actual good kids. Guys in the middle don't really exist that much. And then guys at the top you only get like 40 matches a season, and that's considering you run it all the way to the state finals, right? Mm-hmm. And that's including team states and all that.
Yeah.
You probably know who Luis Fernandez is. He went 43-0 his senior season. I think about 20 of those are forfeits.
Yeah.
Like you put the number 5 kid in the state in 18 seconds.
Yeah.
So this kid's we throw him out, and I've seen like these are the kids like I used to look up to my freshman year. That's the worst part. So I know he loves the upper body, walks at the D pick. I'm like, right before he touches my knee, I'll lat drop him. Sure enough, we get into a situation. Mm-hmm. I close my eyes, go for the lat drop. I get it.
Close your eyes.
And then I expect to get clapped flat on the mat. And I hear people yelling. I'm like, oh, I must have gotten it. And then he just gets off his back. I'm like, yo, just stop bridging real quick. And then he gets off his back. There was no chance of me riding this kid. Like, my legs are gigantic, and this dude's legs were like twice the size of mine. And then he gets out. He starts charging at me because he's mad, as he should be. And I had like a finger and a finger right here. I go for a latch up again. I'm like, today must be my lucky day. And then he sticks me. All in a matter of like 10 seconds. The first latch up and the second latch up happens.
Oh, my.
The thing is, like, I'm so unconscious at that point that I don't know what the hell is going on. So in my mind, after the match ended, I went for the first latch up, I thought, and I just got pinned off of that.
Yeah.
And then I had to go to one of the stat girls and get the video to figure out what actually happened. So what I did, as logically anybody would do at this point, is post a video on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I think I saw that.
I said, when you throw the best kid in the state. And sure enough, everybody in the gym was watching that match and got hyped for me, And then he was just dead silent after that kid pinned me. and then you hear one guy yell, one of the dads from my team yell, "Come on!" And I'm just like, "Fuck you! You don't even know who this kid is." This is the best kid in the entire quality. There's nobody nearly as good as him. He
Yeah.
plays sixth in the state as a junior. Plays fourth as a senior, and that's in a crazy stacked weight class. Where Jimmy Mullen,
Yeah.
a freshman, won the weight.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
dude's gonna be insane. He had the Colton Schultz hair too.
Oh, yeah.
So after that, I posted a video on Instagram, like when you throw the best kid in the state. Sure enough, people are looking at my Instagram, like as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see that he's like, yeah, you got pinned 5 seconds later, and the entire team, that kid's entire team. I look back like 10 minutes later, I see like 30 comments on that post. Half of them were from my team. Was like, yo, I freaked out when that happened. And then 20 from like the other team was like, oh, you still suck, and all that.
Jeez.
I didn't even feel like blocking. It was kind of funny, honestly. Like,
yeah. I think I think I saw that video. That was pretty funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, tell me, like, if you were to throw Gable Stevenson, would you not post it?
I don't know.
Like, I get there's mutual respect for guys that like the Demon level, but like,
I mean,
let's say you're in high school and you're at like Beast of the East or something, and Gable Stevenson's in the finals with you, and you launch him.
Yeah.
like keep in mind, I'm a nobody at this point. Like, I lost the first round of districts last year.
Yeah.
And I was 17-12.
I could definitely see like I'll just give like a for instance, like when I was a senior, I wrestled this one kid from one school who didn't even make it to state, and his whole fan base was cheering that he made it out of the first period, and the score was 14-0 out of the first period. So I mean, yeah, he was like feeding off the crowd, and I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, am I in the same match?
You're about to attack him, and he's like, let's go.
Yeah, and I was just like my dad was one of our coaches, and like I just look at him, and he's just like laughing, and like, and I
can't lie to you.
I end up pinning
him.
like
blast doubled him right to his back.
I can't lie to you though, Zach, 100%. I come back my first dual meet ever, back on the varsity lineup after I cut all that weight. I'm losing 11-0, right?
Yeah.
It's the third period's about to start. Kid picks bottom. I look at my mom, bend over, slap my hands on the mat as hard as I can, fix my straps as my man titties are falling out, get on top of this kid, turn him and stick him.
Really?
Yeah, he ended up winning districts. Literally turned him, stuck him. And I look up, hold on. Can I flip this camera? Can I do that? Yeah, this picture was taken.
That's
right
awesome.
there. I was losing this match 11-0. If I would have got hit for stalling one more time, I was disqualified. That's
you hit for stalling 4 times.
Because I stalled the entire second period on my belly. I wasn't able to get up. I
have not been hit for stalling the entire season.
All right. Well, now that we're done talking about some fun stories, number 3 on Derek's Dumbass Questions, of course, is what's your favorite medal or trophy you have won? You have any cool trophies or medals you won?
I don't know. That second place at Junior Worlds was pretty cool.
Who did you wrestle in the finals?
I wrestled a Russian.
Russians.
Yeah, Maglovedov or whatever. They all.
That dude's filthy.
Yeah, he made it pretty far at like senior at like their senior trials.
Yeah, but then he ended up losing to whoever.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question for you. Like, actually, like, what's your opinion? Like, you know how like the main thing they'll do like is they'll shoot like SARMs or test, right? Mm-hmm. And then they'll take they do the whole oil change process after that. And that's how they pass the drug test. Like, what's your whole opinion on that? Do you think it actually happens or?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I know after like our finals match, they make us sit after we get our awards and take like this hour-long test of piss and everything, and like they like watch us and like I mean, I don't really know how someone could like sneak something like that.
No, you don't know what oil changes, do you?
I
Have you ever
don't.
seen Blue Mountain State?
I have, but it's been
You
forever.
know when they stick like the whole catheter in your
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then take
But
like a syringe and like
yeah, I mean, I personally haven't seen any Russians do that. And I mean,
I don't think it would happen during the tournament. I think it would be like
yeah.
before and then
Oh yeah. I mean, I've only had one international experience, so I mean,
Yeah, and you got second. So
yeah.
yeah,
Because I'm not gonna say like these guys aren't natural because you still know the amount of work the crazy types of training these Russians do, but like it
yeah.
just
I mean,
seems like a little bit fishy on some ends, you know.
yeah. I'm not gonna say all of them cheat. But some get caught, some don't, and
Yeah.
I can't speak for everyone, but
Yeah.
all right, Akil. You
gotta
usually
do it.
ask one valid question during Derek's dumbass question, so you may ask that question now.
Oh yeah. What are some of your hobbies outside of wrestling?
Thank you.
Hobbies. I like to play video games. I want to start streaming soon. Um,
Don't tell me what video games you play. That's question number 4.
okay. All right.
Or we could just
You
add that
seem
to question number 3.
no. You seem like a fishing guy. You seem like somebody I could see out fishing.
Yeah, so I actually love to be outdoors. Fishing is fun. I like my brother does a lot more fishing than I do. But I really just like to be outdoors. My family owns a farm up north of Missouri, a couple thousand acres or 1,000 acres. And yeah, I really just like to be around nature, be outdoors, just work that needs to be done. And then I like to finish it off with playing video games. And then
All right. Well,
big thing of mine is I like real estate. So I know that's really weird to say, but I like
no, yeah.
property. Yeah, but I guess that really ties into like being outside in nature.
Yeah. Have you
But
bought anything yet? Or
no, I have not bought any real estate, but one day I'll probably try to get my real estate license.
so what are you majoring in?
Sport management with a minor in business.
So it's pretty much like every athlete, you know.
Yeah. I just
Is this something like you actually want to do, or is it just like I'm doing
it's
sports?
kind of a backup plan. So I want to do real estate first, or I want to do coaching, or I want to stay in do a sport as long as I can, and then when I retire, whether it be coaching or real estate, and then kind of like the fallback would be sport management.
Yeah, because something I've realized is you have guys like Zane Rutherford, Jason Noel, Bo Nickel, who like even from their first match, you could tell these guys are gonna be wrestling for their entire lives unless something happens. Like even if something happens, they can basically start a personal brand or something at that point. And you see what they study is kinesiology, which is like it's like how your body moves and all that.
Yeah.
It kind of just looks like a BS course on their part. Like they don't really care. Like Bo knows he's gonna be one of the best guys in the world no matter what.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with everything going on with scrap life, I think that like that's a big portion of their income.
Yeah.
Like what's your opinion on all that stuff that's going on?
I mean, I don't think it was a very smart move to post what he said. And I think it was really cool to see, a couple guys kind of in their like contract.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I know
heard
what
like
even though it kind of sucks like to see I mean it sucks to like now they're not getting paid because
yeah
in wrestling not a lot of guys have contracts with companies.
yeah.
So that's just something I thought of. I always thought like, damn, that kind of sucks now they're not getting that income, but they're doing it for a good reason. So
but like that's the main problem. Like because like where are they going to get the money from? Like a lot of these guys, like you would think like these professional athletes, like people on the outside think they make like a couple $100,000 a year. Like they don't. Like they make like that probably like 60, 70K a year, and that's still a grind. Like they're doing it because they love the sport, not for the money. Like you see a lot of guys going to football. Like Dak Prescott's out here asking for 40 mil while he sucks. Like
yeah, I don't know what his deal
like
is.
I met Anthony Aspinall. He actually wrestled in the same county as me.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first ever 4-time undefeated champ. I remember I think his brother Billy was the coach to one team we were wrestling, Christian Brothers Academy, where Sebastian Rivera went.
Mm-hmm.
So Anthony Aspinall was there. This was like a week after he followed my page. I didn't do good. I went 1-2, I pinned their kid in like 20 seconds, but again, I lost to the number 4 kid in the state again. It's when he pinned me in the first period. And I basically pinned myself with a latch up against another kid who ended up making states. So, and then I go up to Anthony Ashnall after, just say hi, you know, like everybody else would have been.
Yeah.
Like, this is like right after you won that national title. He's like an insanely nice dude, right? He was talking to me a little bit just about wrestling. Like, I think this is right after you partnered with Derek. I'll smack you.
Well, I know every story you tell. I tell them.
No, you do not know this story.
Okay, I guarantee I can tell you the story right now. Ready? You want me to tell you?
I talked to Anthony Ashnall. He was telling me about how and why he joined Scrap Life. He seemed like a really nice dude. That's what I'm trying to say. So
and
it's
then
not
the
like these
team
guys
mom brought bagels around, and then you grabbed the bagel, and then he said, "Of course you want a bagel." That's where the conversation ended. Right?
I was not going to say that, but you know, I made weight at that point in the season. You didn't. How do you feel about that?
What did you say?
I was making weight at that point in the season. You weren't.
Hey, man. Shit happens, man.
Oh, shots fired.
Shots fired, bro. We'll see. We'll see when we meet at that D2 national tournament.
You have to get the starting spot first.
And you do too. You're facing a Pennsylvania State champ. You'll really
unless it's Hunter Kretka.
You'll talk about PA state wrestling until you go to Shippensburg and that kid destroys you.
Dude, you're going to East Stroudsburg, okay? You're about to lose from a kid who plays 5th in New Jersey.
He plays 5th in Pennsylvania.
Javon?
That guy, isn't he like a senior?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is.
All right, we're done with our rate.
All right, number four, question number 4 for my questions that end off the episode. What's your favorite video game right now? If you could pick one game to play, what are you playing?
Oh man.
Mine's gotta be COD. I've been
COD. Yeah, I'd be playing if I could only choose one game. No, I'll talk about this. It'd probably be Madden. Madden 2020. But I always play Madden, FIFA, 2K, or Fortnite. Those are the 4 games I play. I really couldn't get into Warzone just from the fact of like I wanted to bounce back and forth, and the controls are just all different. And I was just like, you know what? I'll just stay with Fort. And I don't play Fort solo. I just play with squads or trios or duos, just because I like to play, with friends. It's fun, and I'm not the best, so I like to get carried. No, I'm kidding. I just like to play with friends, and last time I played solos, I freaking died to somebody hiding in a bush. So
the bush camper.
Yeah, so I was just like, you know what? I'm getting away from solos. I thought we were kind of past this, and we were not.
I'm kind of more mad about the FIFA, but we're not going to talk about that.
You don't like FIFA?
No. I like FIFA. I like FIFA. Yeah, I can play FIFA.
No, honestly, I was filthy at Madden for the sole fact that I can literally dissect every coverage. All you see is literally me just checking everything at the line. I go halfback dive every time to check something else.
Yeah.
And I win every game. It'll literally be a 10-play drive every time.
Yeah, Madden's fun. I just I love to just talk. When I play online, I always like to message people afterwards. It's super funny.
You're trash. Delete the game.
Yeah, I tell them to uninstall. It's super fun, and then just arguments happen. It's just kind of like old Call of Duty, when I grew up playing.
MW2, my favorite COD. Everyone used to be so trash. Everyone used to try to fuck everybody out that game.
Yeah, it was just like those old chat rooms. I just like bringing those back where you just talk smack. It's super fun, but.
All right, and then the final question we love to end off the episode with is if you could pick 4 of your teammates and or coaches to take with you in the zombie apocalypse, who are you taking with you? Now, question before we start. Are you the guy on the team that has a lot of guns?
I don't have any in Columbia, but they're on the farm. Yeah, they're on our family farm, but I couldn't tell you I couldn't tell you with what to hunt with and stuff like that. I love to go hunt and stuff, but I can't tell you guns.
Because every team has a gun guy.
Yeah.
We figured that out. Because every person we've asked the question, well, this guy, because he has a lot of guns.
Yeah. So I would go with our strength and conditioning coach, Mike Larson. I'd go with our director of operations, Matt Manley. Those two are the biggest hunters on the team. They went on an elk trip last September. And they're like probably some of the best survival guys, I'd say.
Yeah.
When it comes to that situation. So those two
so
for sure.
We'll check off that for like the coaching section. So let's do 2 of your teammates.
2 of my teammates. Man. I'll go with my boy Keegan McCormick. He graduated this past year. He's another big hunter. But the dude makes me laugh, so I'm sure he'd find something funny going on during the zombie apocalypse. But another hunter, and man, one more.
Imagine just seeing Dom Bradley blast up a zombie.
Dom would. I'd love to see Dom during a zombie apocalypse.
Who do you think would win the match? Dom Bradley, Jaden Cox?
Right now?
Yeah.
Probably.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I think Dom would want me to say Jaden Cox just because, I mean, Cox is the man right now. So, I mean, Dom's really good, but I mean.
Normally I ask people who their pick is for 97, but I can't really ask you that since we already know.
Yeah.
You can't really pick against them, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd just say Cox, but one more teammate, I'll just go with my brother. You know, he'll be my teammate next year, so I'll go with him.
All right. So there's your big 4, your zombie apocalypse fighting team. And as we close with this episode, Zach, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show. We really do appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck on your season coming up.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was awesome. And
we'll hopefully catch up with you after the NCAA tournament. So
sounds good.
Yeah, so this has been episode 23 of Late Night Shots, and we're out.
Thanks